Hello world, my name is Christina Kren from One Health Lessons. Today I have the privilege to talk with Dr. Stroud from the USA. Hello Dr. Stroud, how are you doing today?
Hi, Christina, I'm fine.
Um, well, you are the Executive Director of the One Health Commission. Could you please tell us more a little bit about the job you are doing and how long you have been doing this job?
Sure, the One Health Commission is a 501c3 nonprofit based in the US, in North Carolina, but working globally with the One Health community to help us really further this whole concept of One Health. I've been leading the commission as executive director since late in 2013, but the commission was founded a few years before that here in the US. So that's how long we've been at it, and I'll see what next question you have for me.
Excellent. Where do you see the One Health Commission in 5 or 10 years later?
Oh, well, we might talk about One Health in general before we answer that question, if you don't
Okay,
mind.
sure.
So if you would allow me, I would answer the question, where would I like to see One Health in 5 or 10 years?
Absolutely.
So some of your listeners may or may not be familiar with the concept of One Health. Do you want to make a little introduction to the concept?
Sure. So One Health is basically the connection between the human, animal, and environmental health, actually. And that is why we are basically trying to connect three concepts into one concept, which is One Health.
Great. So the One Health movement, I'll just give a little more background for the movement. Really, in my mind, I hope I'm not losing my internet. Really, in my mind, this conversation started in the late 90s, coming out of the ecology and conservation, medicine, and biodiversity sectors, because they started saying, wow, look at all these diseases that come from animals that people get. And the veterinary world picked it up and started actually saying, oh my gosh, they're right. Look at all these diseases that come from animals. The veterinary world really started making a lot of noise about it, almost to the detriment of the One Health movement, because the human health folks thought, oh, that's just the animal doctors. They're talking, it doesn't have anything to do with us. So we have really finally come full circle, in this horrible pandemic that we're living in right now has really helped the world understand that we're talking about really the interconnections and the overlaps between the human, the animal, and the environmental, and also the plant health world. I mean, how are we going to feed 9 to 10 billion people on the planet if we don't pay attention to soil health and plant health and all those sciences also? So this is really a movement to try to help us reestablish those connections, because our specialties have forced us into silos and we don't always connect and talk to each other. So we have trouble sharing information coming out of the different sectors. So if anybody's listening to this who's never heard of this One Health concept before, I hope that will help them understand a little bit about what we're going to talk about here in the next few minutes. So the One Health movement, as I said, we started thinking and talking more about it in the early 2000s, and the term One Health was coined 2003 or somewhere along in there, and more organizations started really trying to open these conversations and further the concept, and we started talking to lawmakers and policymakers. So we've been at this almost 20 years. And this pandemic is now pretty amazing, because now I see lawmakers looking at us and saying, is this what you were talking about? So this is a moment when we really have a very special opportunity to teach the public about One Health. And so you asked me where I want to see the commission in 5 or 10 years. Well, let's talk really first about where I'd like to see One Health in 5 or 10 years.
Sure.
So I would love to see us have One Health frameworks in place at national level at all countries, and internationally with the UN. And some people listening to this may or may not realize, but often the FAO and OIE and WHO, those international arms, they're often referred to as the One Health tripartite, because they actually do recognize this concept and how important it is for them to work together. with FAO focused on food and OIE focused on animals and WHO focused on human health. So we're making great strides, but we have a long way to go. I would love to see the United Nations actually embracing and implementing the One Health framework. Many of us believe that One Health is a perfect path to achieve many of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So I would really, truly love to see One Health become the default way of doing business at all levels of academia, research, government, policy, so that we really just kind of naturally framed everything that we did in One Health. And that is not the way we're structured right now. Right now, our federal agencies, it's just like at the United Nations and at the international level, we're focused, like in the US, the NIH is focused on human health, and the USDA is focused on animal health of species of agricultural importance, forgetting about companion animals and wildlife very often.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So we've really got to find ways to increase our efficiency in prevention of things like this pandemic, by really tying and creating the opportunities and the structures for our agencies, not only across our professions, but across our federal agencies, to really work together. So that's my vision for One Health, so that we have structures in place to tie it all together. Now, for the One Health Commission, an organization that is focused on trying to help the world understand this concept, I hope by 10 years from now, we aren't needed. So that's kind of a thumbnail version of my hopes and dreams for One Health and the One Health Commission.
Excellent. I'm really happy to hear that, because definitely in the region where I'm living, we are speaking always about global health, public health, but we are not basically aware about the notion of One Health. So I truly hope that also the work of this commission will be also promoted in the Balkan region where I'm living, actually, hopefully.
So did you mention when you introduced yourself where you're located for our listeners?
Sure. As I have been doing other interviews as well, most people majority know, but I am currently based in Istanbul in Turkey, which is part of Southeast Europe, actually.
Right, but you're from Macedonia, I think
Yes,
is what I
I'm from
understood.
Macedonia. Yes, I'm from Macedonia, but I'm living for 4 years already in Turkey.
So we had a moment to visit before the interview, and I would like to just reiterate how excited I am to see you understanding the concept of One Health, because you're coming from the social sciences,
Yes.
from languages and arts and history and law and policy. So I'm very excited to have people like yourself understand this concept and then help us move it forward. Because I think one of the questions you mentioned you might want to ask me was, what are some of our greatest challenges? And to me, our greatest challenge to really achieve this vision of making One Health the default way of doing business is to help the public, the lay public, understand this concept and to build it into their thought processes. Everything from, whether or not they're going to use a straw at dinner and a plastic bottle for their water, what it's going to do to the environment, all the way to the lawmakers they're going to put in, they vote to put lawmakers in place. The people who are really aware of the interconnectedness. So I truly, for us to really accomplish One Health, we really do have to really incorporate this concept in everywhere. And so OneHealthLessons.com and the One Health Commission has been working very hard to start instilling this education starting very, very early.
Absolutely. And in this part of the world where I'm living, we have always a saying, like or general, the people are saying, okay, if I throw one plastic bottle in the street, that won't pollute the environment. It is actually, as a saying, very much implemented in the mentality of the culture through the entire Balkan region, as well in Turkey. And that shows up, or it is a demonstration that there is not a sufficient awareness about the importance of the environment, but also about animals and humans to some extent. But I will say that we always here in this part of the world, we are always trying to care much more about human health, but not really about animals. For instance, in Turkey, cats and dogs are really the kings and queens. They really take care of cats and dogs. In Istanbul, basically, they say that the former sultans of, they say that the now that the kings or the sultans are the cats and the dogs in Istanbul. But in Macedonia, unfortunately, more and more people are poisoning um, animals in the street, and that is a problematic, really problematic. I wanted to share this as a thought in order perhaps to raise awareness for the people who are going to listen this talk, especially the people from my region. Dr. Stroud, I would like to ask you a little bit more about your career. You're a veterinarian by profession, right?
That's right. And I also have a PhD in endocrine physiology.
What motivated you to switch basically from the veterinarian specialization to endocrine physiology?
Oh, actually, I didn't switch. I just added that knowledge to my veterinary knowledge. I actually practiced veterinary medicine after my PhD. So I never went the pure academic path where so many people who get a PhD, they go start writing grants and doing research. I've used my PhD just to increase my knowledge depth. And actually, I feel, Ristina, like everything I've done in my career has prepared me for what I'm doing now when I realize that all these knowledge bases can be brought to bear to be a One Health practitioner. So I see myself with my veterinary training and my endocrine physiology PhD training just becoming a stronger One Health practitioner. So I often tell young people when they ask me, how do I get a career in One Health? I tell them, pick your discipline, hone your skill, and do it practice it in a One Health way. So bring your knowledge. You need that depth of knowledge in some discipline. You just don't need to climb into that discipline silo.
Absolutely.
You need to be sure that you can stay connected to all the other professions. Now that doesn't mean that you're going to be an expert with deep knowledge in every profession. Nobody can know everything. Nobody can know everything.
Absolutely.
But it does mean that you can come at whatever you're doing with an awareness, and whatever job that you end up finding yourself in, you can bring that One Health concept to that job. So that's it wasn't a switch for me. And one of the craziest things I ever did, Christina, was I was a veterinarian with a PhD in endocrine physiology, setting up a reproductive hormone lab and an anthropology department to do studies of hormonal studies in populations of women from all around the world.
Wow, that's
Yeah, so that was like, they had no idea what to do with me, a veterinarian, in that anthropology department.
Wow, but it's impressive because your story is really inspiring, because in the region where I'm living, basically, education seems to be considered like, as an obstacle. Or in the sense, like young people, when they go to university and when they start doing their exams, they don't get motivated, because they think, that all the information can be found on Wikipedia or Google. And this is not effective, in my opinion. Like, I love research. I don't see myself as a professor in the future, but I definitely like research. One of my dreams one day was to be a cardiologist and also a veterinarian to some extent when I was a child. But I said I switched to social sciences. I really did a switch in terms of my dreams, what I wanted to do. And if in some country education is an obstacle in the minds of young people, in your opinion, what is the biggest obstacle for One Health nowadays? How can we address that the problems that One Health faces nowadays?
Oh, educating the public. It's the public, it's the general lay public that once they understand this concept, it will trickle up to the lawmakers. So we really need a top-down, bottom-up approach here, right? We need to be working on educating the lawmakers, but really we need to be working on educating the public. And so that, to me, right now is our weakest area for One Health. We've spent a lot of time over the past nearly 20 years talking to each other in the professions, but we've spent precious little time trying to educate the public. So one thing that we've been doing in this pandemic, the One Health Commission has created, and this is a little strange to some people, because some professionals look down their noses at popular media and op-eds and commentaries. They're not pure science. But that's what the public reads, right? The public doesn't go and dig into these scientific articles because they don't understand the language and the jargon and the concepts in uh, um, the scientific arena. But what we've been doing to try to help the public understand and to be really celebrate what the public is seeing is we've created a COVID-19 and One Health webpage where we've literally been queuing up links to all the popular media op-eds and commentaries that have been coming out since January about this pandemic that mention or call for One Health. So there have been millions of commentaries, but we've got over 200 and many more in the queue yet that have specifically mentioned or call for One Health. And this is from India to China to the US, all over the world. We've queued up these popular media op-eds because that's what the public's reading. So anybody who doesn't know what One Health is, but is curious about how it relates to this pandemic could go and get quite an education on that webpage. So it's our need to help the public, the general public, understand this, which is why I'm so excited about trying to take One Health, knowledge about One Health, the movement One Health, and also about One Health issues like bats having rabies and comparative medicine and translational research and climate change and antimicrobial resistance. All of those are really urgently needed topics that fall under the purview, really are begging for us to do this One Health approach where we bring people together to share our knowledge base from the different professions to address our wicked problems.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. And I'm curious more about the work of One Health Commission in depth. Like, do you have offices in some foreign countries?
No, the commission, as nonprofits go, is still a baby nonprofit. We're still very young. So funding is a challenge. So we don't have offices, but we do have everything that the commission does is done with volunteers, and those volunteers come from all over the world. Okay. So in that sense, we have offices in other parts of the world, but we don't have bricks and mortar structure offices in other parts of the world. But we have volunteers and people who follow us. Our listserv has expanded over 2,000 just since this pandemic started. So our listserv is quite global in scope. It's 12,000, almost 12,500 right now. And people who receive, in fact, I want to be sure, Christina, that you're on the listserv now because One Health Happenings, our newsletter is going out hopefully today.
Wow.
And it's a great way to share with the world all that's going on around the world for One Health. So we don't have offices all over the world, but we have volunteers from all over the world who are really working, especially starting to come forward and get involved in the One Health education efforts.
Impressive. I'm really curious to know more about the work of the One Health Commission, and I'll definitely check out your website and contact you for more information. What is perhaps, the biggest challenge that the One Health Commission faced until now, or perhaps the best experience that the One Health Commission had in terms of the projects that were undertaken?
The best experience is to be able to create these opportunities for people to get involved, like you've been able to get involved with onehealthlessons.com. It's been, there was really no organization before the commission kind of came on to the scene where just individuals who understood One Health wanted to get involved and help pursue it and help further the concept. So that's been one of the most fulfilling and exciting things, especially the students. We've been able to support and facilitate and encourage the creation of an independent international student One Health Alliance, ISOHA. And it's been so wonderful to watch incredible young people like yourself step forward to lead for this concept and do amazing things, like create a mentor program, and they're creating a journal, and they do webinars, and they help connect students all over the world that are working for One Health. So those are some of the exciting things, and to see how people, I can't tell you, I spent all my time answering emails to people who reached to me wanting to learn more about One Health or about the commission or wanting me to speak somewhere. So those are the wonderful things. The challenge that the commission has experienced is that I don't think the world always understands the importance of having an organization that can help us connect and create these opportunities and create the networks and the groups that can do the work for One Health so that we can do the education. And so funding has been a huge challenge. That's been like the albatross around my neck for, as long as I've led this organization. So I'm sure that many nonprofits feel that way, which is why I say we're still a very young nonprofit. I feel like we've been in this, I guess if you think about when the commission was actually started in 2009, and then not a whole lot happened for a few years. So we've really been in about a 7-year proof of concept phase to try to show the world this is why an organization like this is needed, so that we can get help with the funding. But regardless, we do the work on a shoestring with very little money because of the volunteers.
Yes.
Like yourself volunteering with One Health Lessons.
Yes, I definitely I can say that volunteering with One Health Lessons perhaps was the most wonderful experience of my life, because for the first time in my life I was doing something totally outside as an activity, totally outside of social sciences. Before I was included with communication, being like a communication officer, doing social media internships, and basically, always trying to promote courses about social sciences, basically about peace and conflict. It's still related to social sciences, but definitely this is something I would like really to learn more about.
Well, the exciting thing is that you're having an impact internationally now by being involved in this, because I mean, if I were to show you pages on the One Health Commission's page, and we have a Who's Who in One Health webpage, where we've been trying to really shine a light on all the organizations around the world that are actively leading for One Health. And this is in addition to all the organizations who have written letters saying, yes, we support One Health. This is the organizations that have active programs that they're leading for One Health. So that's been really a kind of a passion project of mine, is to help us find out who's doing what, so we can find how we can join hands and synergize our efforts. So that's been a huge part. The commission works under the edict, Connect, Create, Educate. We're trying to connect the global One Health community to create networks and working groups and action teams that can work to educate about One Health and One Health issues. So that's it in a thumbnail right there.
Yes, and currently during the COVID-19 crisis or pandemic, we are able to, work online more and hear about many new concepts. So I can say that this year was very productive for me, even though I'm all the time at home because we can't go outside, literally. I definitely think that I did so great things because I was always curious to learn more, and I will definitely try now to promote on my social media pages and on LinkedIn, and tell to my friends and family about the One Health Commission. Definitely will. And I would like to thank you a lot for your time and for giving a great talk about the work of One Health Commission.
Christina, I want to thank you for getting involved in the One Health movement. There are more and more paths to do that now, and I'm very excited that One Health Lessons has been able to help you get involved, and I'm very excited if you want to help people find out about the One Health Commission also. So it's really what we can all do together to really advance and further understanding about this movement. So thank you very much for the interview.
You're very welcome. I wish you great holidays and Happy New Year as well in 2 weeks actually. And greetings from Istanbul. Thank you.
Thank you again, and be in touch, okay?
Sure. Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care of yourself.
Bye-bye.